Bob actually stole my speech tonight, and it's a miracle that there's anything to say at all. I have two loves in my reading. I do a fair bit of reading, and one is science, as you might have guessed, and the other is history. So I'm going to do a little bit of each tonight, but trust me, a very little bit. Life, it seems to me, is driven to some extent by the chaos theory. The butterfly effect, specifically. The theory states that a butterfly can flap its wings in one part of the world, and that one small flap can build into a hurricane somewhere else. Anne and I arrived in August of 1971, flap number one. And we thought that we would be here for a few years before moving on. Well, I don't know that we built into a hurricane, but here we are after 38 years, still flapping. My first year was rough. I was a green kid with a lot of hair, and I must have looked pretty young because I had new boys asking me if I was a prefect. They had to memorize the names of all the prefects as part of their initiation, and they were relieved that they didn't have to worry about me. Most of us smoked back then, and I took to periodically lighting up my pipe in class, if you can believe, so that there would be no doubt that I was not a student. I was up to my ears in alligators at times in my first year, and subsequently as well. One day ahead of the students in my preparation of 4 different courses and 6 classes. At times I felt like I was drowning. Back in those days, the staff room, master study as it was called, was where the library is now. And there used to be a big brick wall, on the other side of which was the chimney from the boilers downstairs. On a cold morning, staff members would stand with their backs against the wall to keep warm, I kid you not. One morning, I remember going into the staff room and standing beside the colonel, Andy Eagleton, the much-loved phys ed master and head of the Cadet Corps. He was also the father of our own Brian Eagleton. Andy was a seasoned veteran teacher who was loved and respected by all the members of the school. I told Andy about the troubles I was having with my classes, and I told him that I didn't know if I could stick it out. He told me about his first days at Ridley. Andy had seen a lot. He had been in the Army in the Second World War, and he had been stationed in Hong Kong in 1940. Shortly after the Allies had arrived there, the Japanese attacked and captured all of them. The Canadians were held in prisoner of war camps for years after the fall of Hong Kong, and many of the troops didn't make it out alive. Andy did survive, and after the war he returned to St. Catharines and began to teach gymnastics and phys ed as well as cadets, as his father Cap Eagleton had done before him. This seasoned veteran teacher, who had been through so much in the days of the war, told me about the rough time that he had had in his early days at Ridley. He told me that he would drive to the corner of Welland and Ontario streets on his way to school, and he would gaze across 12 Mile Creek at Ridley, and he told me how he would ask himself if he could face the kids and another day of teaching at the school. He did face those difficult days, and he went on to have a wonderful career. It was my talk with Andy on that cold day with our derrieres up against the brick wall that helped me decide that if he could stick it out, so could I. And here I am. So there it is. Ridley, when all is said and done, is about people. There is a Ridley family, and all of us here are a big part of it. Anne has been in lower school this year, and she has commented often on the devotion of the teachers who work there. And it's the same in upper school. And then there are the kids. I've always thought that if you want to be a teacher, there is no better place to be than right here which is why I've been here for 38 years. We have great facilities, wonderful colleagues, both in the classroom and outside, and great kids to teach and coach. It doesn't get any better. Time to wrap up. Ridley is all about people. Experienced teachers out there, look after the new ones, just like Andy did all those years ago with me. Above all, enjoy and make the most out of having those kids of yours in the classroom, on the playing fields, and on the stage. That's where the fun is. God bless.